I was born in the village of Amakpo, nestled beside the Omambola River, a place where life and the river were one. The river brought us fish, water for our crops, and stories from our ancestors. But the elders always said, the river has a soul, and that soul keeps secrets. Do not ask too many questions. My name is Edeora, and my life was meant to follow the path of tradition. My mother, Neoma, was a proud woman who expected nothing less than perfection from me. She told me that my purpose was to become a good wife to a strong man and take my place as the future matriarch of our family. And that man, according to my mother, was Onwu. Onwu had money, land, and respect. He was powerful, and he had asked for my hand in marriage. But there was something about him that made my heart heavy, like a shadow I couldn't escape. I didn't love him, and the idea of spending my life with him felt like being trapped. One evening, after the sun had set and the village was quiet, I went down to the riverbank to clear my thoughts. The water shimmered under the moonlight, calm yet mysterious. I could hear the soft rush of the river, like it was whispering secrets just beyond reach. I took off my sandals and dipped my toes into the cool water, letting the river's current swirl around my feet. It felt like the river was calling to me, beckoning me closer, inviting me into its depths. I closed my eyes for a moment, and when I opened them again, I thought I saw something flicker in the water, a shadow moving just beneath the surface. A sound reached my ears, an enchanting melody, like a song carried by the wind. It was soft but unmistakable. It sounded like a voice from the river itself. I stepped closer, drawn to the sound. The moonlight made the water glow faintly, and then, to my surprise, I saw something rise from the water, half human, half fish, a woman with long, flowing hair and shimmering green scales. It was a mermaid. I gasped and took a step back. Her eyes, glowing like golden fire, fixed on mine. For a long moment, neither of us moved. "Do not be afraid," the mermaid said, her voice clear as if the river itself was speaking through her. Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I am Mary, guardian of the river," she replied. "And you are the one who listens." Before I could speak, she vanished back into the depths, leaving only ripples in the water. I stood there, frozen, unsure if I had imagined everything. But I knew something inside me had changed. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about the mermaid. What did she mean? Why had she appeared to me? Was it a warning? It was then I saw him again, Chijioke, the fisherman. He had been in the village for as long as I could remember, his quiet presence always near the river. Chijioke was different from the other men. He didn't boast of his wealth or power. He lived simply, with his small boat and fishing nets, always respectful and kind. One afternoon, as I walked to the market, I found him sitting by the river, mending his net. I approached him hesitantly. "Chijioke," I said softly. "Is it true what they say? That you once saw a mermaid?" He looked up at me, his eyes filled with a sadness I couldn't understand. "It is true," he said quietly. "But it's not a story to be told lightly." He paused for a moment, looking out at the river. "When I was a boy, I fell into the river during a storm. I almost drowned, but something pulled me out, something powerful, something alive. It was a mermaid. She saved my life, but in doing so, she cursed me. She told me that I could never love anyone, that anyone I loved would be taken from me, as the river had taken my freedom." I didn't understand. "What do you mean?" He sighed deeply. "The river's love is a dangerous thing. It promises life, but it demands something in return." The more time I spent with Chijioke, the more I realized how different he was from Onwu. Onwu was angry, possessive, and his pride was as strong as the river itself. He had been pursuing me relentlessly, and I had finally told him I couldn't marry him. I loved Chijioke, not Onwu. That night, Onwu came to my house, his face twisted in rage. "You will marry me, Edeora," he commanded. "You will do as I say, or I will make sure no one else will have you." I refused. "I cannot marry you, Onwu. My heart belongs to someone else." Onwu's eyes burned with fury. "You will regret this. I will make sure of it." The days passed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was coming. The river was silent, its depths holding secrets that only the brave or foolish dared to uncover. One evening, Chijioke and I met by the water again. The air was heavy with tension. "Edeora," Chijioke said softly, his voice filled with pain. "I have to leave. The river won't let me stay. It wants me to go." I grabbed his hand, desperate. "Please don't go, Chijioke. I love you." He shook his head, his expression sorrowful. "You don't understand. The river won't let us be happy. It's cursed me. It will take everything from me if I stay. If I stay, I might lose you." I didn't care. I loved him, and I didn't want to lose him. But before I could say anything more, a shadow rose from the water, and there she was again, Miri, the mermaid. "You cannot fight fate, child," Miri said, her voice as soft as the river breeze. "The river has already chosen its path for you. The storm and Onwu's fate." The sky grew dark as the storm rolled in. Onwu appeared suddenly, standing on the riverbank with a dagger in hand. "You will not have her," Onwu shouted, his eyes wild with madness. "I will make you regret defying me." Before I could move, Chijioke stepped between us. "Leave her alone, Onwu. She is mine, and no one will take her from me." The river seemed to roar with anger, and in a flash, Miri rose from the water, her body glowing with an otherworldly light. "Enough," she said, her voice booming like thunder. "You have crossed the line, Onwu. The river does not forgive betrayal." The water surged around him, dragging him beneath the surface. Onwu screamed, but the river took him, swallowing his cries. The storm calmed, and the river returned to its peaceful state. Chijioke and I stood together, breathless. The next morning, the village elders gathered. There was no sign of Onwu, and the villagers believed he had drowned in the storm. They didn't know the river had claimed him. Chijioke and I stood before the elders. I held his hand tightly, knowing that together, we had survived something that no one could understand. The elders blessed our union, and my mother, though hesitant, finally gave her approval. I still think about Miri sometimes, the guardian of the river, and I wonder if she truly cursed Chijioke or if she was trying to protect him. But one thing is certain, the river keeps its secrets, and its love is both a gift and a warning. And now, as I stand by the river with Chijioke, I know that the river's love is mine, and I will never forget the secret it holds. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, then you'll enjoy our other story, Ghost of a Good Mother and a Fight for Hope. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.